Thank you, Joe. The other thing on Capitol Hill today that's been very, very interesting to watch is Boeing in the spotlight, not in a good way, with two hearings, including the testimony of one of them from a whistleblower who says that some of the planes that Boeing has are just defective. And this comes as the company is facing multiple investigations from regulators and lawmakers. And Dennis Kneale, the financial journalist, an old friend, joins us right now. What's bugging me is Dennis's motto in life, and also his podcast that he hosts.
Yes.
What'd you make of this Boeing thing? I mean, the whistleblower, I thought, you know, that was pretty serious stuff, saying they should ground these planes and the like. But maybe you have a different take on what we watched.
Just to make the conversation more interesting,
sure.
Let's first start off by saying, yes, Boeing, bad dog, safety problem. FAA report in February came out and said, look, you got safety culture problems. Your employees are confused. OK, lots of things about that. Great. So they have this big hearing now after a New York Times reporter story about the whistleblower and an NBC News exclusive. And now he's there testifying. And he talks about how scary it is because his boss sent him emails, 10 emails demanding to know about something. And his boss called him on not his work phone, his personal cell phone. That means he knows where I live. Well, yeah, you had to give him your address so they could send you your paycheck. He's acting like he's some big hero when he is plying complaints, Connell, that Boeing has already addressed. It downed this plane for 18 months. It fixed it. The FAA investigated. There's 1,000 787s. That's the plane he's targeting. 1,000 are flying. They've done 870 million passengers in about 12 years, 30 million square miles covered. Okay. Yep. And yet there's never been a crash at all of a 787. Boeing's getting clobbered for that 737 problem.
Yeah.
Is this piling on?
Well, clobbered, you know, the MAX 9, you're talking about the door plug coming flying off the plane. You can see why people are upset about that, and there's a picture of that. So you're saying the Dreamliner issue, he says the Dreamliner should be grounded, is a separate issue, and you don't want to go, and you don't think, but you would acknowledge that Boeing's had its issues and its culture that lead up to this, and that's why people are, you know, a little skeptical.
Yes, and it's good to have this hearing, and Boeing has had these issues, and the company has failed to focus on the fix. It needs to get engineers back involved. You heard a letter read from an anonymous whistleblower saying they feel disconnected. They're working virtually. Maybe they have to do more kind of in the office for the most senior people and the engineers. There's all kinds of fixes. At the same time, to say that 1,000 planes should be grounded because of this guy's suspicions when the FAA already has investigated almost and inspected almost
this, you know, nightmare. CEO's leaving, I know that, but you know, how does this great big American company, even if you're right about what you're saying about the Dreamliner that it's piling on, get things turned around here? What do you think?
Yes, you know what? As a crisis advisor, I've done some of this stuff. The fact is, when you are clearly in the wrong, when you have screwed up, you focus on the fix. You don't go over and over denying things that went wrong. You focus on the new resolutions. Replace parts of the board, bring in safety experts and independent, bring in an outside investigation. You start to create news by actually taking action to look at a more fundamental level. Here's the other thing I hear. No complaints from the whistleblowers, no complaints from the FAA report. I read an executive summary that says, here's an example of all the bad safety going on. Here's sloppy thing. Instead, it's about lines of reporting and about, you know, what management says. But if you want to go into that, the hearing today, I listened to a couple hours, has not talked about DEI. These guys last year hired 47% of all their new hires were people of color. That's up 5 points in a year. And in 2022, they changed their executive incentive plan from being only based on safety and quality to adding climate and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they want to raise their black employment by 20% within a short time. And all of that is taking away. I'm not saying that leads to safety problems, but it is taking away a focus on safety, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. I didn't see that part of the hearing, but you're saying that their priorities are not what you think is maximizing profits and, you know, returning to their shareholders. We could keep talking about this. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.